Hey everyone, you're all watching a video of my tutorial of how I made my first Gundam helmet. So, to create this helmet, what we're going to start off with a quad ball. I specifically say quad ball because supposedly the spear does not print well for 3D printing. I've never tested it, so if you guys want to test it and see if a spear prints better or differently, be my guest and let me know, but I'm too cheap to waste filament, so I stick with quad ball. The 3D body we're creating right now, it's going to be called the inner head of the Gundam. It'll be this part of the Gundam. So from here on out, you're going to see me tweaking the faces and vertices by modifying the body to match somewhat of the image of the inner head part of the Gundam. If you don't want to see the tweaking process, you can skip to the timestamp you see above, and that will point you to the next step. Since the Gundam is symmetric, you can just set up symmetry. You click symmetry, and then you select the faces, and then you select OK. Skip to the timestamp you see above, and that will point you to the next step. So here's the next step. We're gonna have to flatten the bottom part of the body, and then to do that, you have to select all the faces, and then you select crease. When you select crease, it folds everything that you select with the edges, but we don't want the center ones selected, so we're gonna have to unselect those. Then after that, you're gonna select flatten, and you're gonna then click all the vertices on this bottom plane, so we can flatten this bottom part correctly. Now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and start tweaking things by moving vertices and faces. If you don't want to see this and just tweak your own way, again, the timestamp above is the next step. You can just fast forward and go to that part, so you don't have to see this boring stuff of me just tweaking for no reason. that the inner head is done, we are now going to do the outer head of the Gundam, which is this part. To do that, we have to clone the body of the inner head. Now that that's done, I am going to flatten the top head of this body, and I will flatten it the same way you previously saw it for the inner body. The top must be creased by going to modify and then selecting crease, and after we crease it, touching only the outer edges, I will now flatten it by selecting all the vertices. Now that that's done, I'm going to go back to my tweaking and just, pulling vertices, edges, and faces to match the design in the back. If you don't want to see the tweaking, skip to this timestamp. Alright, now we need to exit out of this editing form of the purple bodies. You do that by clicking finish form. Once you do that, now we can create a sketch. So we have to create a sketch that is going to do an outline of the edge of the helmet, which you'll see. So we create a line. You can choose however you want to create a line. You can do one with splines, so you can adjust the curves more. You can do a straight line. Once the line is done, we are now going to split the body. To split the body, you click this icon here, and then you select the splitting tool as the line. I leave it always extended because I'm lazy. Now in the bodies folder, you'll see a new body there. The new body was a result of splitting the body by using the line as reference. Now we can set that body to invisible. I usually don't delete them, just for reference. And now we're going to do the same thing with the other body, the outer head. A line is going to be created, well, sketch, and then you're going to select the outer head body and cut it with the split body tool and use the new created line to cut that body. This is technically a tweaking step, but I thought it was really important because to me it made the biggest difference for the Gundam head. So these two lines, I'm going to crease them because it gives the inner Gundam head, the visor, a bit of a more Gundam look. Now back to tweaking. If you don't want to see this, timestamp above. Go and skip. Alright, we're getting close to the finish line now. So now we're just gonna give the outer Gundam head a bit more of a Gundam look. We're gonna select these edges and then we're going to modify them by using the chamfer tool. On the outside of this Gundam head, we're gonna bring the edges in roughly 15 millimeters and they give it a 15 degree. To see the degree, you have to change the drop down menu option. Your numbers might be slightly different depending on the size of your Gundam head, so don't worry if the numbers don't match, as long as it looks like a Gundam head. What I do to one side, I will now do to the other. Now back to tweaking. If you don't want to see this, timestamp above. Go and skip. This is where we create the shell of the Gundam. So what we do is we take the inner head and we clone it. Now the clone, we're going to slightly scale it to be smaller than the original inner head. Tweaking. If you don't want to see this, timestamp above. Go and skip. Okay, now we're out of the purple editing mode. This is how we split the bodies. You click the combine tool here, and then you have your target body, which will be the original inner body, and then you have your inner body that will be the tool. You will click cut, and cut will produce a new body. The new body will be the inside of the shell, which you can set to invisible. I do recommend keeping the tool and not having it disappear, so leave that box checked. Now we will cut the outer body with the inner body now. The new geometry that got created, you can set it invisible. And then voila! This is the Gundam head. A normal person would stop here and say it's completed, so this tutorial technically is completed, but I didn't leave it that way. I kept tweaking it, so if you want to see me tweaking some more on this Gundam, continue watching. If you have enough information, stay tuned for the next Gundam tutorial.